everyone. Welcome in to the 5th episode of the Accelerate Strength and Conditioning video cast, Zoom call, whatever you want to call it. I guess we can't really call it a podcast because you can see our faces. A couple special guests with us today. Myself, Coach O, Coach Oldham, Coach King's with us, Coach Mauser is also here. And then I do not want to steal their thunder, so I'm going to turn it over to Coach Mauser and introduce the head football coach of Waynesville High School. And it looks like a returning captain that we've got joining us as well. So Coach Mauser, take it away.
Hey, how y'all doing? So we got Coach Jordan with us. He's the head coach of the Waynesville football team, and Jake Ambergy, who's the captain, like you said. I've gotten to work with them now for a year and a half. It's been an excellent time, and there's nobody I'd rather work with, to be honest. But I've missed everybody, and I would just like to check in to see kind of how everyone's doing, what I've missed since we've been gone, if there's anything that they have brought directly to the coaches or Jake's attention for us to get on topic on.
Great. Coach Jordan, kind of kick us off. How are things going with you being quarantined and, get us started with that?
Well, it's different. Everybody's learning to adjust and do things such as what we're doing right now, kind of on the fly. And you got to find ways to communicate with kids. You got to find ways to motivate kids. You got to find, because that's what they want. They want a connection to you, to a program, to the school. And you got to find ways to do that. And we've started doing some creative things just in the last couple of weeks. Like, for instance, I've used Twitter, and every Thursday we're going to have Thursday trivia on Twitter. And last week I put a picture of one of our assistant coaches from when he was a kid and said, which coach is this? And the first player to respond gets a free Big Bow. And a Big Bow is from the local gas station carryout. And it's a breakfast sandwich everyone in Waynesville loves. So I think I had a response in 27 seconds, the first person who won. And there was probably 10 kids who immediately hit it. So we're going to do Thursday trivia on Twitter just to keep the kids connected to the program. We're going to try to do, and I missed it on Monday. It was actually my brother-in-law's birthday, and I got distracted. But we were going to do Motivation Monday and post a highlight video or something to, kind of keep that, hey, we're preparing for the season. Everything we're moving forward right now is in preparation of this season. There's lots of crazy rumors I've heard as far as move football to the spring and play 5 games. None of that stuff is set in stone. So we're going to keep moving forward like we're going to have a season. And you got to find that motivation to, one, do your schoolwork. That's a big thing that we're constantly calling kids, texting them, emailing parents, kids, whatever we can do to continue to do your schoolwork, because you are a student athlete. And you're always a student first, because you got to have that eligibility to be able to play. And then the other one is to keep these guys, to get out and move their bodies in some way, whether it's a sprint, a push-up, body squats. I've read stuff where people are filling up book bags, with heavy stuff and going uphill. It's anything you can do to keep moving, because we want to keep a connection to the program. And as a coaching staff, we've met Zoom, Google Meet type deals. We're still planning. We've done our implementation. We have a few new coaches coming in, so it's good to meet with them. And then we've also, a lot of the universities, I know Penn State and Ohio State in particular are the ones that I've done. They're doing coaching clinics online. So last week I listened to Ryan Day from Ohio State, kind of picked, we couldn't directly talk to him, but he spoke to us and gave a lot of the ideas that they're doing at Ohio State. And so we're staying active and preparing for the season, as much as we can, and trying to keep the kids have that connection to our program.
That's great. It's all good things. Not to steal, your thunder here, but Jake, thanks for coming on with us here. Kind of tell us who you are. What's your role in Waynesville? I hear that you are a returning captain. So without further ado, Jake, introduce yourself, and then hopefully you're staying safe. Kind of give us an update on your status.
Yeah. So I'm Jake. I'm the starting quarterback at Waynesville, and like Coach Jordan said, I'm a captain. Right now, I feel like our communication is pretty strong. I feel like we're all doing a good job. It's, obviously kind of weird, like Coach Jordan said. But I think the thing that we all got to realize is the teams we're playing against probably aren't working too hard right now, and they're probably sitting around, kind of enjoying themselves. And I think that if we do the things that are posted for us on Google Classroom and on Twitter, that we can actually, use this time to get ahead and be better than we were coming into it.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of the overall theme I'm hearing across, the athletes that we work with, is that no one is saying, hey, what if? We're preparing for when it does come back. we're going to be one of the schools that are hitting the ground running. Coach Mauser, I know you had a few questions that you wanted to shoot out to Coach and Jake here. What's kind of the number one thing you wanted to lead off with?
Well, actually, just to comment on some of that really quick, kind of gave me the idea while Jake was talking. I know that a lot of them are probably sitting around, and some people are kind of enjoying the time off. And I mentioned before in the other videos about planning ahead, thinking ahead, and trying to get a little bit in to where we don't get injured and things like that. But actually, King had made me think of this too. He ran some sprints the other day, and like the next time we talked on video, King was like, "My legs are still hurting." If we can get out to everybody, please. If you're not going to train hard, I really wish that you would. I mean, I'm wearing my Get Fit or Die shirt. Like, I think everything should always be 100%. But at the bare minimum, you guys have got to be doing enough that when we come in and we run for the first time, you're not hurting for 4 or 5 days, because then we're not just losing this quarantine time. We're losing the first 2 to 3 weeks of us getting back at it, because you're going to spend so much time trying to recover from something that 3 months ago would have been a joke to you. And that really, you do lose it that fast. For every day you take off, it takes 2 to get it back. That's the reality of it. So I just wanted to kind of lead off by saying that. But I know as far as everything goes, I can kind of sit here and talk for the next 3 days on lifting techniques with a backpack. But I'm happy that people are actually implementing it and using it. So I didn't know, Coach Jordan or Ambergy, do you know if anybody's having specific issues using those things to work out certain body parts or to get certain goals achieved, that maybe between the 3 of us, we can lead you in the right direction?
I have not had anyone reach out and say, I'm having this particular issue. I've had a lot of guys reach out and say, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, kind of what they're doing, but no one has said, hey, I'm in this, having a bind in this situation. And Jake, I know you obviously talk to guys all the time. What are you hearing?
Well, I haven't heard any complaints at all. I think people are using this time to kind of start doing their own stuff, and it's kind of refreshing getting back into just doing like body weight and stuff like that, like push-ups and running sprints. So I haven't heard a whole lot of complaints. I think everything's pretty positive right now.
How about on the opposite of that then, fellas? What about maybe just a couple of success stories that you guys have heard that you'd like to share, especially, Jake, share with your teammates there, maybe some stuff you found around the house, out in the yard, that you've been able to implement to get a really good workout in?
Well, I know a few of my teammates have just been going up to the track and doing simple stuff like running sprints, trying to stay in shape. I think they're pretty pleased. I think people are kind of, just relaxing and doing their own kind of stuff. I think people are just pretty excited right now to be able to kind of come up with their own stuff and do what they want to be doing to get better.
Yeah, I like that people are excited and we're doing what we want to do to get better. But I have to be myself here and remind everybody that we need to do the things we don't like doing. So I thought about this the other day when I was harassing kind of on video about hamstrings being neglected, just to throw out an extra way that you can train them. And is actually, if you lay down on the floor or lay down on a seat or chest, anything that slightly elevates you off the ground will be better, but laying flat's fine. Put that backpack between your legs, squeeze it tight, and curl your legs up. And then if you're flexible enough too, then kind of do like when we would do our floor kicks, like the freestyle swims and stuff, trying to get those quads to leave the ground. Then slowly put them back down and straighten them legs back out. Hamstrings are always our weakest point. And it would make me overjoyed if we could get a little bit of extra work in on that and it start being the thing that we all want to do.
Along that same point, I've dealt with knee injuries my whole career, 2 torn patellars. So the rehabilitation part is definitely something I know that a lot of these kids have at home is a basketball. And one of the things I used to do was single leg curls. So I didn't have a yoga ball, right? That wasn't a big thing, and it definitely wasn't a big thing in Ross to be doing yoga. So I used to use a basketball single leg curl and then keep myself elevated so that would work the hamstring. Just a tidbit of advice if you want to work those hamstrings and get your, the glutes fired a little bit there. My next question is going to be more for Coach. Coach, as we approach back, we're hearing things, Governor DeWine's opening things up for everybody soon to come. Would you rather your kids be more conditioned as we approach, the possibility of coming back, or build strength right now?
Yeah, I would go conditioning, because I think I think that's the tougher one to get. You guys may disagree. You guys may want the strength side of it. I think the conditioning side is the side that kids don't want to do. That's the stuff Josh doesn't. So if we could get them in here conditioned, they want to lift weights. They want to lay on the bench press. They want to squat. They want curl and military press and all those things that we do. The conditioning is what they don't want to do. And like he said, you don't want to come in and something that was easy 3 months ago, now all of a sudden you're throwing up. So that's where I would be. I would want them to come in conditioned. Because I think once we get back as a team, adding strength is something that we do really well in this program. And the other concern that I have is, and I know they're not working it, is the neck. And I know it's in there because that is the concussion. That a lot of it is a link to preventing concussions, and we have, knock on wood, been really good as far as our concussion numbers the last couple of years. So that's a concern for me also.
Jake, when's the last time you did some four-way neck?
I've actually been stretching my neck pretty frequently, because whenever I lift hard or run sprints and I don't stretch my neck, it actually hurts pretty bad sometimes. So I've been stretching it a little bit, to be honest.
Good answer.
That's good.
That's a good answer, Jake.
keep that flexibility up, because that's going to be one thing too that I'm seeing. Right, when we do a lot of workouts, sometimes stretching is thought of as an afterthought.
Absolutely.
And it should never be thought of as an afterthought. The prehab, the stretching, the balance work, we've been trying to relay that message. So I'm glad you said conditioning. If you come back in really bad shape and we're ready to start playing, it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're not going to last a quarter.
Yep.
So getting out and running, like Coach Mauser said, I myself got out there and ran some sprints the other day because I haven't had a chance to go to the gym and do some things I wanted to do. And my legs are feeling better, by the way, Coach Mauser. But you're right. Flexibility, prehab, and conditioning work is also important right now.
Yeah, and that's because, again, we're hearing rumors and things, but the talk is August 1st. We may not get the kids back until August 1st. So you're talking August 1st to get the kids back playing a game 25, 26 days later.
Yeah, and I know this for me, even at my, most conditioned phase, I still feel like it took me 3 weeks to be at the top of my game, at least conditioning wise. And I think along with conditioning comes a mindset, right? Of can I fight past when it does suck? And so, and football at fourth quarter means everything, right? So I definitely think conditioning is huge. Now, Coach Mauser, do you want to how would you incorporate that strength and that conditioning in the same time? What are the things that you want the Waynesville kids to know right now about doing both?
So football specifically, you got to think it's a lot of fast breaks. So right now is a perfect time to increase recovery time, right? I always talk about starving out the muscle, using that backpack, holding it out, hold it straight out, hold a squat, whatever it takes to really pull out every bit of air that's in that muscle and then hit a fast break, 100 yards, 50 yards, whatever you can get in. Stop, do another exercise. Basically, the stuff that I used to do to the athletes when we were having a bad day. That is the secret to increasing recovery time. If you can drop down, hit 50 push-ups, fail at those push-ups, starve the chest out as much as possible, hop up, sprint as fast and as hard as possible. That way you're using the lungs, the muscles are getting fatigued, and you're able to train your oxygen system a little bit better. The whole cardiovascular system is now running overdrive because you're working this to death. Do some pull-ups if you can, hold your backpack out if you can, get the shoulders in. You work that to death. Your body's trying to recover these things, but you're working other stuff at the same time. So in those moments where you have to dig in the game, that's what's going to make the difference. Your heart, your lungs, everything is more effective for it.
Now, Jake, do you find yourself, kind of equally doing, I know we're sending out workouts, but do you find yourself equally doing the stuff that we're sending out as well as your own ideas, or do you find yourself kind of leaning more towards your own ideas?
Well, I've been doing kind of my own thing, but it's a lot of the stuff we do with you guys anyway. So I've been working strength and explosiveness one day, then the next day doing more conditioning and sprinting and agility, stuff like that. I want to rotate, mix it up and just stay doing different things and try to work the things that, everybody doesn't want to do, like conditioning, even though it's not a whole lot of fun, it's important. So I've just kind of been rotating every other day, and that's just what I'm doing.
Now, do you find yourself, I know for us, we're pretty regimented as athletes still, even though we're kind of semi-retired at this point. But, do you find yourself waking up and sticking to a schedule, or are you getting good nutrition? Kind of what's your nutrition right now as a high school athlete during the quarantine?
I'd say it's pretty much the same as it has been. I'm not skipping meals. You're drinking a lot of water, stuff like that. The thing I do like is I'm able to fix my own lunch and not eat cafeteria food. That's, been sitting around for 2 weeks. I'm able to eat like peanut butter and jelly and have a little bit of fruit and stuff like that. So that's kind of what mine's been. It's been pretty normal, pretty standard.
Gotcha. Now, Coach, how much of a routine are you under right now, sticking to? What's the coaching life like on this side?
Yeah, so I wake up. I do a lot of my teaching side in the morning. So I typically get up 7:30, read, have a little breakfast, and then go right into teacher mode. So I check. We have our office hours, and we do Zooms with our classes and grading and that type of stuff. So that kind of takes me up to the afternoon. And then the afternoon, I try to do my own workouts. So I try to get a run or push-ups, body weight stuff. I try to do that a couple times a week, and I have a few weights at my house, so I have some things here I can do other than body weight, but not a ton. And then once we hit the afternoon, that's when it becomes football time. That's when I try to get all my football stuff caught up in that 3, 4, 5 o'clock hour is when I'm working on football stuff and answering questions for that, tweeting kids, getting on them about their work, talking to parents about schoolwork. I mean, all those types, talking with our athletic director, our principal, I've tried to stay regimented that way because I'm like you guys. I like it very, and Jake knows this. I like everything very, he's smiling. He knows it. Right to the point, to the minute. And we've used Sundays for a lot of coaching meetings. Like this past Sunday, we had an offensive install meeting. So we went through all of our offensive install, and we actually invited Jake and Blaze Sizer, the 2 quarterbacks. We invited them in to the offensive meeting and saw what the coaches are doing on that side of it. So.
I'm gonna transition that to Coach King. Former Division I football player. How important is it that they're staying regimented? Like I said, Jake, you're approaching your senior year. I mean, I don't know your aspirations if you're looking to play at the next level after this, but from a football player to football player, what advice would you give Jake as far as staying regimented and things like that?
I would say try to keep a schedule to what's going to be most like what you're going to need once the season starts. Once the off-season training starts, because if you get away from that, and it could happen back when you were a college athlete as well. You go home for a week, and all of a sudden you were sleeping in late or you're staying up late, and even just that week can kind of throw you off a couple of days. And as much as you can stay regimented with that schedule, and especially when it comes to eating, Jake, I loved hearing that you're able to make your own lunch. You don't have to worry about the cafeteria food. We talked about with some of our athletes as well, where it's tough at times because you got a pantry with you where it's probably loaded with snacks and whatever you can eat. It's something that I would do would maybe make out my meals and have them prepackaged so what you want to grab. Just like if you were in school, you might have a snack bag with you. Something like that where you're not going to the pantry and grabbing, a snack maybe you shouldn't be eating right there. Or we also talked about this, Coach O, learn how to cook something new with some really good food. Right? I can't wait till we get an athlete to come to us that shows us, cooking up some nice rice and chicken, maybe a good piece of lean meat. So big thing, try to keep your regimen to where it's going to be closest to when we get back at it, because we don't know when it's going to be, and you're going to thank yourself keeping that schedule when it comes time.
Yeah.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Back to Jake, as far as, you said what are you cooking? What is mom and dad fixing up for you? Or what are you cooking yourself? What's the healthiest meal that you like to eat right now?
I like breakfast, to be honest. I like being able to get up, fix cereal, and eat like fruit, like an apple or banana, something like that. Then I got to be honest, for lunch every day, I've stuck to peanut butter and jelly and milk, chocolate milk. So I'd say breakfast is the best because I don't have I'm not limited to 10 minutes to eat. I can get up and kind of eat whatever I want and not be, forced to hurry up, get in the shower, and get ready for school.
Now, I know when you said cereal in the morning and then you talked about fruit, I'm going to say this much. I know we want to get our fruits as early as possible, right, Coach Mauser? But I can see you kind of cringing over there. What tidbits of advice would you offer Jake as far as we approach this morning nutrition plan?
Just where are the eggs, man?
Yeah.
You guys are killing me. You know I feel about peanut butter and jelly too. But we're all right. I'm happy that you're actually getting to start doing this stuff on your own and making it your own deal, right? But I will say, fruit first thing in the morning is good. If you're going to go that route, watermelon is a great choice. There's a lot of studies that show it correlates with heart health and boosts testosterone in males to have that first thing in the morning. So, I mean, you're on the right track with that stuff. I have a vendetta out against cereal, though. I'd throw it in the trash if I was you and start eating some omelets, chicken, steak and eggs for breakfast is amazing. But, I mean, I like that you're doing that and you're on the right pace, but there was a thing that we mentioned earlier in another episode, a girl was having issues with like snacking. How do you feel like you're managing your diet throughout the day, keeping yourself motivated and excited about doing that since you've been doing it now so many days in a row and you're not getting tired of it?
I feel fine with it. I mean, since I've been able to eat a little bit more with each meal, I don't find myself, starving for snacks in between. So I don't know. It's been pretty normal for me, diet wise.
Okay. Plus, you're eating really good, hearty, high nutrient valued cereal too.
I think I set you up on that one, Jake. Let me ask you this, Jake. I want to try and redeem you a little bit. When you were in school, how many times were you actually eating breakfast before you went to school?
Every day.
Really? Okay. So, now you have more
Good
time
answer.
to make better choices. So, Coach, nutrition is a huge aspect. I'm sure you try and talk to your guys about it as much. What's some nutrition stuff that, you would want them to focus on?
I try to talk to kids, and that's probably the hardest thing that we do as coaches is the nutrition side of it, because that's the one thing that's, I think, beyond size and facilities and things, the biggest difference in high school and college is, and Coach King, you know this, and you guys who played, they can control your diet. They can control what's in the team room. They can control what's at team table, all those things. That's the hardest part of the high schools is we can't control the diets as much, and we have to educate the kids. So about a year ago, year and a half ago, I watched a documentary. It was called Fed Up, and it was by Katie Couric, and it's about the sugar. Have you guys seen it?
Yes.
Yep.
It's incredible about the sugar and where they sneak sugar in all these different places. So I actually showed that I teach sociology. I showed it to a sociology class, just trying to educate kids as much as I can. My plan was this summer was to show it to our players once we got everybody back out of spring sports and we had the football program back. I think it's powerful. And I had students in my class who are not athletes say, wow. I mean, I never, and I had kids that later in the year would come up and say, Mr. Jordan, I look at the label now and see where they add sugar. And I thought when I ate a granola bar and it says that all these things on there that it was, really good, when in reality it's got 15 grams of added sugar in and the places they hide. So that was really eye-opening for me. Because my wife and I felt like we always personally ate pretty clean. And that documentary allowed us to clean up a lot of things. And it was, I know there's a lot of them out there, but for me, that one was the science behind it was really easy to understand. It's presented well, and it was presented the way where I showed it to high school kids and they understood it and they saw the power behind it. But that's probably the hardest thing to educate kids on is the nutrition side of it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I always live by the rule of if it takes time to make somewhere else, you probably shouldn't eat it. So if it didn't come and grow on this earth, maybe I shouldn't eat it. It's how I live. Coach Mauser will tell you to go eat some baby food, but that's his favorite go-to, not mine, unfortunately. Jake, for dinner, you mentioned breakfast, but to finish off, after your workout, what do you put in your body after your workout?
Pretty much just whatever my mom fixes me. I mean, I like to drink my protein shakes or whatever after I lift, but she's been giving me a lot of carbs. So.
Okay, perfect. Coaches, do you have any other questions you wanted to ask at this point?
Yeah, you guys are obviously working in a variety of schools. What are you seeing as far as high school kids participation levels in this stuff? What do you think? because my concern is we lost off-season conditioning and we lost spring sports. So if the kids aren't lifting weights full-time for a sport, they're still playing baseball, they're still running track, they're still throwing a shot put. Some schools have lacrosse, girls with softball. So my biggest is for all athletes, not just football players, but when we come back in the fall, football, soccer, all these things, is that kids are going to be susceptible to injury. So what do you guys kind of seeing as far as kids participating at the different schools?
Yeah, I think I'll kick off with the fact of, we're going on the trust model right now. We're trusting that they're getting out and doing something. I think we've done, like I said, this is episode 5 for us. And every single time we've come on here, we brought athletic trainers on from Wyoming where we work at. And the biggest thing is flexibility, balance, core, and just taking care of yourself, icing, prehab, those, whether it's the glute hams or it's the side leg lifts or the things like that. That's where we've been trying to talk about. The focus is going to be that and the recovery. So the stretching, the balance, the making sure you're warming up, but we are focusing on the conditioning. Coach King, did I miss anything?
No, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. And like you said, it's a good way to put it. You're working on a trust system, right? But we've gotten some really good feedback, and the things that we've given the athletes, thankfully, they're really, really accessible. And the biggest thing I would say that to keep conveying, and we've said it a couple times on this podcast, is making sure that they're doing the prehab work, the flexibility. And Coach Oldham, you just said that, the core work, the stuff that usually is at the beginning and at the end of the workout, and not like the meat, is what a lot of, when kids are on their own, they're going to skip. And we need to keep conveying that those are the things that, more than anything, you don't want to skip. And so hopefully, like you said, that fear of, not being prepared when we get back there, we get back to the competitive season, obviously it's there. But if they're doing those things, we don't have anything to worry about no matter when they call this season to come back. So that's kind of what I would say with that.
Coach Mauser, you were on with us with the 2 Wyoming athletes. What did they say to you that stood out in your mind?
Just that they're actually getting out there and they're trying to move. I think that I trust our athletes. I trust that everybody's getting out there. They're getting to move. They're keeping their bodies limber, loose. They're ready to get back. The one thing that we haven't mentioned that I'm very concerned about is sleep. Right now everybody gets to stay up as long as they want, sleep in as long as they want. Even Jake's talking about having an easy morning. That's great. But we need to make that adjustment as small as possible and start, if we're off our sleep schedule, we need to start tapering it back. We need to be ready, because even if you're not an athlete, if your sleep is all messed up, that first day of school, I mean, everybody will tell you, at the end of that day of school, you're so exhausted, you're so tired, you physically hurt because your sleep was wrong. There's no way with improper sleep that we're going to be able to train, even with every precaution we take. So we need to really, really bring that in and make sure everybody is sticking as close to a regulated sleep schedule as possible.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast the other day, and the biggest thing is he's saying that his professional athletes right now are overtraining. They're not resting. And so he couldn't emphasize it enough, the rest. He's working with a lot of NHL players right now, and that, some of them have their own indoor rinks that they can skate and stuff like that, but the wear and tear of skating on your body and how hard that can be on you, and then they're not resting because they literally have nothing else to do. Wanted to finish it off. We've kind of finished every episode off with when we have like schools like Waynesville or Wyoming on, Coach, what's the overall message you want to get out to the players? Take your 2 minutes here and get your message out to them, as we're going to tweet this out to as many people as we can.
I want the message to be that they're taking care of everything that they normally would be taking care of in a school setting. They're taking care of at home. So number one, making sure we're taking care of our academics. We need to be at full strength when we come to the fall, and everyone's taking care of the academics, because I do believe that. And I tell our guys all the time, you're a student athlete. You're always a student first. Take care of the academics. 2, make sure we are preparing for our season. We have a league title to defend. We have a giant target on our back right now as the defending league champs. So all this stuff, it's like a puzzle. It all comes together with different pieces. And the academic side, then we're getting outside and doing our conditioning. We're doing our strength training. We're doing whatever we can to move and physically prepare ourselves for whenever we come back to start this season. If it's June 1st, if it's July 1st, if it's August 1st, if we play 10 games, if we play 5 games, we have to be in a position to hit the ground running. And I want them to know that behind the scenes, their coaches are doing all they can to prepare, looking at schedules and what do we have to do to make this as smooth as we can for these kids. So when we come in, we're ready to go and we're going to defend that league title.
Perfect. Jake, senior year, man, coming up, what is the message you want to relay to, one, the football players, your peers, your teammates, as well as the rest of the Waynesville athletes?
Well, I agree with Coach Jordan. First of all, we got to stay on top of our grades because, we got to have everybody eligible for the season. But then we got to have the mindset that the season is going to start on time, and we got to be ready to go. And we can use this time to really get ahead of our competition right now and continue to get better and improve.
Coach Mauser, last words you want to get out to the Waynesville athletes right now?
Just can't wait to get back at it. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. So, do what you can to come in and hit the ground running until we can have some fun while we do it.
Coach King, I'll end it with you.
Gentlemen, I just want to say thanks, Coach Jordan, Jake, for coming on here. Really great talking with you. Best of luck coming out of this. And if you guys need anything, we have a great support staff. We're all here for you. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks again, Coach Jordan, Jake, for being on with us. We are going to continue to keep doing these video casts coming up. So if there's anybody else that you want to get on or assistant coaches that you want to try and get on to one of these, please let us know. But until then, we will catch you guys at another date.